Thank you for hanging out with me today. I'm JB Bryan, the President and Chief Investment Officer at JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm, and I'm excited about today's topic. I am an entrepreneur, so I love when we talk about entrepreneurship, business tips, all that stuff. I wish that everyone had the freedom of entrepreneurship, but I know it's not easy. So for those of you who are in business, this should be an exciting discussion for you. Those of you who work for someone and carry yourself like a true entrepreneur does, and everyone, I believe everyone should carry themselves as their own enterprise, because you're in charge of your career, your life, your family, finances, everything. So today's topic is just a little peep into the workshop that's coming up in May. Now, on the 23rd, I'm doing Refuse to Be Broke, Our Black Wealth Matters, again, on Saturday, the 23rd, live. We did that last Saturday. It was a great discussion. During the discussion, the Refuse to Be Broke, we use the workbook that goes along with the book, and check out the book and the workbook at AfroEconomics.com, and we have our own bookstore. You can get it there. And on May 14th, we're going to talk about what we're going to discuss today for a few minutes. Entrepreneurship, the Fearless Black Entrepreneur of AfroEconomics, which is my third book. God willing, it'll be out a little later this year, because I love it. I love it. The first book is just broad about all of us, the 10 principles of what we should exercise on our individual finances. But a key, the seventh principle of AfroEconomics is entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is a big part of wealth development, in my opinion. My new word, IMO, in my opinion. Instead of laugh out loud, because the bottom line is we're all just sharing our opinion, and sometimes we get too attached to our opinion. So I don't want anyone to think that entrepreneurship is for everyone. I just believe that we all have the potential, and those of us who have decided to make that life choice, that I know it's a challenge, and I want you to know that I'm on your team. I have had JB Bryan Financial Group since 1995, so that's over 20 years of entrepreneurship. It has been my commitment. So let's talk about just some key attributes of some tips for being a business owner, for being a successful entrepreneur. And these are some ideas that I have. That number one would be, don't be lazy. And unfortunately, when we look at the statistics, you look at your friends, you look at the people surrounding you, unfortunately, most people are lazy. That's why reality TV and all those TV shows are so exciting, because people are looking for opportunities to be lazy and to be entertained while they're being lazy. But an entrepreneur, we cannot be lazy. And some things that I thought about there is that the reason that we cannot, as business owners, we can't be lazy is because when you're being lazy, it tends to make you want to take the easy way out. You're looking for comfortable ways. But just because something is easy, after 20 years, I've really become frightened when things are too easy, because I know if it's easy, I have to look at why this will work, because typically when we're looking for an easy way out, it ends up being the hard way to live. So we have to make sure that that we know that just because it looks easy, typically if it looks too good to be true, it usually is. So let's think about that as entrepreneurs, and let's make sure that we think, because thinking is hard work. So what our challenge is to do is to do the hard work ourselves, so that things are easy for our customers. So we want to make our product easy for our customers. We want to make our service easy for our customers to understand and to benefit from. But you don't want to because if we're taking easy and we're doing things the easy way, typically that's making it hard for people to do business with you, and you're not making life better for people. So your product, of course, definitely has to be as easy as possible, as efficient, as comfortable for your customer as possible, because people aren't going to go on top of their house to watch television, as an example, right? They're not gonna go on top of the house. If they did, they would want it to be an elevator to get them to the top of the house. Oh, wow, the elevator, great invention. So, make sure that you make your service easy, but don't try to create the service the easy way. You do the hard part. Let's do the hard part. Let's not be easy. Let's make our products easy, but let's make sure that we're doing the hard part for our customers. So let's make sure that we think, and we think through everything that we do. And thinking is hard. Some days I am like so mentally exhausted that what you do with your mind actually can affect you physically. It's amazing and that's why I like to exercise at the top of the day, because I know that if I'm doing everything I should be doing for my customers, for my clients, that I'm going to be exhausted, because I want to give them the best of me. I want to make their life easier. So let's think about a second thing. Number two, I think of it as the marshmallow test. And I think this is interesting. If you've ever heard about the marshmallow test, is when they did this as a psychological test that they did for kids. And they took the kids and they said, if you can have this marshmallow now, or you can have these 2 cookies later. And I'm not exactly right on this, but this is just an example. So then they did a study on which kids said, oh, I just want this right now. And they chomped it down. And then they followed the kids who said, okay, well, I'll wait 10 minutes because I'll get a lot more if I wait for these 10 minutes. And the study found, and let me look at my notes here, but the study found basically that the kids who allowed themselves delayed gratification ended up being the ones who were more likely to finish school and obtain college degrees, had lower incidences of divorce in their adult life, were less likely to become addicted to things, were less likely to be obese, and tended to be better off economically, the study says. So isn't that amazing? So we want to make sure that we realize that as entrepreneurs, we have to realize that we are the extreme of delayed gratification. I have been doing this 20 years, 20 plus years, March 1995. So more than 20 years, wow, 21 years, I've been waiting for you to watch this video. Now that's delayed gratification. that is definitely delayed. You have just made my career by watching this video. But I laughed at that, but it's true, because I don't know exactly who you are and what your intention is and how you're going to help spread the cause of AfroEconomics, but you watching this is making a difference. And I had to wait and invest 21 years in order to have this effect on your life. And I had to wait 20 years before I was ready to put together the 10 principles of AfroEconomics. And of course, I wasn't waiting. I was working the entire time, but I had to delay, because if I put this out in my first year of business, I'm sure I may not have had 10 principles. I would not have had 10 principles that I understand and believe in because of everything that I've gone through. So that delayed gratification is what is going to allow your business to extend past the life of the average business. So we want to make sure that we're not just eating the marshmallow because it's right there in front of us, but that we have the strength to delay and wait for those 2 cookies. So let's look at some other things. A third point, kind of talked about it, be patient. I believe that a big part of wealth development is being patient, that we have a tendency to really move towards that let me take advantage of everything now. Let me get the biggest loan very early in the game in your business, when you should be focusing on grinding and not just getting loans and making sure that everything is easy, but to make some capital down the road, or get loans down the road because you need it for expansion project. But to just take advantage of everything just because it's right there in front of you, we don't want to do that. So we want to make sure that we continue to, throughout our careers, throughout our business ownership, that we realize that there is a connection between patience and wealth development. So the solution is, don't allow during the time of your business and I have it here. I said, don't allow expenses to outpace our income. And that's what messes us up in business. So it's hard to delay gratification. It's hard to be patient if you created all these expenses through borrowing or acquiring all of assets that really aren't necessary for your income production. When you're buying assets outside of what you actually need in order to operate your business, that's when the unnecessary debt comes along. That's when the stress comes along. That's when the bad decisions typically follow. So we want to realize that wealth and patience go together. So a fourth point, never know, you will never know everything. And that's so true. We will never know everything, but we have to do it anyway. So in many cases, what we're doing, like, I don't know exactly how this discussion was going to flow. I just know I have my notes here, but how it's going to flow, how it's going to receive, I can't say, well, I'm going to wait. And I mean, I have a work. I have people I've talked to this morning, people I've met with this morning, things I have to do after this live stream. So we can't, unfortunately, we can't wait until we feel like we know everything and how it's going to turn out. And am I going to get 8,000 people this week that are going to watch this? Because 8,000 watts, I can't even worry about all that. You just go at it. So, because you never will know everything about the process. So simply getting started and learning as we go. Because some of this discussion, I had to really get into this to really be able to share everything. I have the notes, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to feel in the process, or what I might get to the next point and say, I don't even want to talk about that. So you won't know that. Well, in business, that happens. You have to get in there and do it. I believe that the best written business plans, by the time you get started, that business plan is old. And we're talking about, so it's just like, I always tell clients, like when we're doing our financial things, like I like that the workbook is available in e-format, because when we're putting our financial goals into the workbook, that is that day. The next day, the next month, the next year, those financial goals are different. So when you get the ebook, that you're able to go back in, you can save the PDF at that particular date, then go back and save your information at another, or print it out. It might not let you save it because it's copyrighted PDF or whatever, but it lets you fill it in. It's a fillable PDF. So you're filling, and that's just like life. That's just like business. That asset, your balance sheet, your cash flow, your budget, your expenses, your income, that's at that particular time. That is a snapshot. So we have to make sure that we just get in it and we grind and we work through it, and that we don't over process everything, and that we don't spend a lot of time looking at what happened yesterday, but we spend most of our time on creating the best today that we can have. It's those daily today habits that are going to determine our lifestyle in years to come. It's amazing that what we do today, what a huge impact that it can have on you 2-3 years down the road. And I was thinking, I'm going back to my hometown where I went to middle school, and I'm speaking at the middle school, and I'm thinking about, wow, the middle school is inviting me back to speak because of what I did in middle school. And a lady this morning on Facebook, she said, when I watched you on TV, I was on CBS, the Virginia This Morning show on Monday. She said, when I watched you, I saw you, and I said, oh my goodness, that's that girl from school. And then she said something. You are always smart. It didn't really catch me by surprise, not that much, because I expected that of you. You know, that's amazing. I didn't know that at that time. We don't know what we're doing right now, how it's impacting but we better make sure that we're giving our best. Let's give our best to whatever we're doing and get out there and do it. Don't allow our ego to get caught up in the process so that we don't ever get started, because a lot of times you're thinking and worried about what others think and will it work and this, just do it. If you want to help somebody, help them. So then a fifth point is to decide what not to do. It's easiest for us to decide what to do, but it's just really hard. Well, it's just hard. It's hard to decide what to do, but it's even harder to decide what not to do. I think that's even better said, that it is hard to decide what not to do. I was reading a management book one time, and it was talking about how important it is to get rid of people. Like, we put a lot of effort in who to hire, but we don't put a lot of effort in who we need to get rid of. People, companies, and the governments and entities and everything, they will keep people in the environment and they become toxic. There are certain things that you will do as a business owner that you know you should not do. And that's what you need to make sure that you focus on. Trusting yourself and realizing how important it is to know what not to do. I was telling to someone yesterday, I said, sometimes when I look at my life, I know that I have gone out of my way to create distractions because the stress of what I know I need to focus on was getting on my nerves. So I said, let me do this. Let me just look at this distraction. Let me look over there. Let me do this. Let me get distracted so that it will kind of give me a release from what I really need to be doing to make the planet a better place. But now that I realize that, now that I know that I trip sometimes, we just trip out, but we've got to learn how to pull ourselves back in and say, whoa, girlfriend, you are way off track. We have to decide what not to do. How many times do you have to get burnt before you realize, oh, when I buy unnecessary things, that's bad for the business. Whoop, we don't need to go into that line because that doesn't work for us. Focus on what you do best. And so many businesses do that. So many businesses don't do that, which I mean, they don't focus on what they do best. They get distracted and start looking at things that look easy, things that look hot, things that are out there available, but somebody else is much better at that than you. That's why it's working for them, because they focusing on what they do best. You focus on what you do best, and you will have success. But you got to have the guts to focus on what you do best and realize what's not what you should be doing. That I can't do that. I'm not a dancer. But I'm a damn good financial advisor. I know that's what I do best. So when people approach me about different things, if it's not in the scope of what I know God has planned for my life, I have to have the discipline enough to say, hey, that's not in the plan. I'm not going to do that. I can't sell that. I know a lot of people, but that's not in my plan. That's not what AfroEconomics does. No. And it might take years to benefit from that. No, but you got to know it. You got to trust yourself as a business owner, as a person, that you know better. So then also a sixth point is to expect the unexpected. Because shit happens, things go wrong. So expect the unexpected, that things might happen that you didn't, that you, like, think about the worst case scenario, because to say that you didn't know it would happen, that would be ridiculous. You have a partnership, for example. If you decided on a corporate structure or entity structure that was a partnership, and you're in business with this person, you and this person may not die on the same day. Expect it. I mean, that's not even expecting the unexpected, because all of us are going to die one day. So we have to have a plan of action. How are you going to buy that person out? What are you going to do if they go crazy? What are you going to do? Have a plan of action. Make sure that you do, which is another point that I have, like, be detail oriented, but that's a couple ones down. But make sure that you set up the fine print and that you expect the unexpected, a nice way of saying it, but expect what you should be expecting. You just don't want to face it, right? But we have to know, we don't want any surprises as business owners. You're going to be surprised. So how do you take out for that? Make sure that we have some savings set up. Make sure that you're in touch with what your expenses are. Make sure you're in tune with your tax liabilities. How are your tax flowing? How are the taxes paid? Where are the payroll taxes? How are the people being paid? How are you going to make, that the next payroll is coming up? That's not what I mean? That's not even the unexpected, but some people will approach that like, oh, I didn't know they were going to need to be paid in 2 weeks. Yeah, they were going to be needed. They've got to be paid in 2 weeks. So you can't run a huge advertising campaign without knowing that you got your payroll taken care of. It's real, and the payroll taxes. Too many businesses go out of business because of tax challenges, and we don't have the right to say we didn't know. We have to know. So, and then a seventh point is that we're only human. You're only human. So in order to operate a business that is depending on you, you have to make sure that you realize that I'm not a machine. You're not a machine. You gotta put good stuff in this. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't try to do things that are going to harm myself, like staying up all night. If I stay up because I've got to finish some work, I make sure I get appropriate rest, because I know that if I don't get appropriate rest, it can lead into illness. Even a cold is irritating for a business owner. We can't go around, or I do television or my live stream and I'm just having a cold, and no. So you're not a machine. You can do that with it, run the machine over time. Even if the machine is running all the time, machines have maintenance people for their machine. So you have to be all about accepting the fact that your health is your wealth. Principle 10 of AfroEconomics. We're only human. Too many people in the Black community have cut their wealth off because of illnesses, disabilities that have stopped them from being able to produce good income. That little disability check, you deserve so much more. You deserve to be healthy. We have to prevent these things. We have to do everything we can to accept the fact that I have to be in charge of my life. I can't do this, this, and this, and expect that I'm going to be able to produce, present, perform at the level that I should, that if I don't take care of the main product, that's you, the business owner. So then an 8th point is be detail oriented. And it's so true. As I was talking about, when you have different contracts that are involved in your business, or you set up a partnership, or you have a corporation and you have different owners and they have different portions of ownership into your corporation, and you promise them, say you promise them a dividend, do what you said you were going to do. Be detail oriented. Be in tune with what promises you made, what bills are due, what taxes are due, what things is your family expecting you for, what things will have. Like my daughter, I promised I was going to go on a field trip with her later this month. I also told a client that I was going to come to their house later this month on that day. Didn't realize it till my daughter brought it up, and I said, whoa. Had to call the client and said, wow, I made a promise. Can I come see you a day earlier? See? So then everybody's happier. Instead of going back and putting the client off, you move them forward. Your child is happy, but we've got to be detail oriented. And then like me, I should have turned my phone off. I should have been detail oriented. Whoa, that's funny. So excuse me. So being detail oriented, I still didn't turn the phone off, but I should have been. That's an example of not looking out for the short game, realizing that the phone needs to be turned off before you sit down in front of that camera. I always like to think of golf. When I used to play golf, and now I spend more time riding my motorcycle than playing golf, but the short game in golf, or even like, if you use motorcycle as an example, it's the little things, the little details that will mess up your ride. Not making sure that your bike has a proper maintenance, not making sure that if you're a golf player, that you've done putting practice, because your putts can take off strokes, or, just like if we want the long, big Tiger Woods, big things and shots or whatever, but we want that. But, like going to the foul line in basketball, that sometimes can make the whole game. So that's the same thing for a business owner, is working on the short game, working on the details is very important. And then a 9th point is there is a lesson in every loss. And oh Lord, do I know that's true. Anything that your business has gone through and you survived, make sure you focus on the lesson there, not just the pain of the experience. Like, I remember the first time my executive assistant, I had an executive assistant, and they just left, like wrote me the nicest letter, but they just quit. And they were like, I couldn't say this in front of you, but I just, want to do something else, to take another job and blah, 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 and I'm like new in business. I'm depending on this person. So what I learned out of that painful experience is that I have to always know how to operate my business, how the business is functioning, where everything is. Don't ever become too dependent on, or as big corporations will do, they'll cross-train. So have other people that understand how to do that, that customer management system, that know how to make sure that the emails are checked, that you have more than one person that understand the other person's job. And I've seen a lot of corporations move into that. As small business owners, we have to make sure that we have backup too, right? And the final point is to be a team player. That we have to, if we're developing a team, we have to make sure that people want to be on your team. Like the young lady said when she wrote me the nicest letter in the world, that she was still leaving, but she was like, I love you, I really want to, but I want to be, she said she wanted to be a lawyer. So, you know, she wanted to go back to law school and she wanted to work at this law practice. Hey, this is a registered investment advisory firm. You're not going to learn about the law really here. So she wanted to do that. Now, that you want to make sure that everybody that goes your way, that comes through your path, that you touch their life, that you touched it in as positive a way possible. Now, I can't say that every point in my career, I was as good at management as I wanted to be, because I was an investment advisor and that's what I wanted to do. And I really, as a business owner, it takes you to a whole different level, because then you're actually depending on other people. You're creating and building other lives in the business and outside of the business. So as a business owner, we don't have the privilege of saying, I just do this and I'm not going to worry about that. No, we have to actually operate at a level of empathy. And that took some business maturity. Sometimes Hollywood will glorify rude bosses and people being mean to people, but that doesn't work. I don't care what industry you're in. Or people will give excuses to high-tech industry and they just say, that's just how we are. That's not true. There are good, nice people in technology. We can look at just as many stories about great things that they've done for their employees, so their employees are building wealth just like the business is itself. And I've made a career commitment to building up people, building up my employees, building up the businesses that I work with, and that creating a team. But you have to make a commitment in order to do that, and realize that we can all build and reach our dreams together. The people won't have to stay with you forever, but they certainly can enjoy their time while they're there and give you your 100 while they're there with you. And you can learn to encourage them to know that you want everyone to grow and move on. But what we'll do to protect the business is make sure that the business is protected with someone else understanding that particular position. And then also understanding succession planning. And we'll talk another time about that. But that's just, as a business owner, having a plan of legacy, principle one. Of the AfroEconomics, but knowing how you want your business to be passed on. Do you have key employees that want to inherit the business, want to buy the business when you retire, or what is your plan for the business? And that's important, to be able to communicate with your team about, if something happens to you, what is your plan of action? What will the next day be like? So entrepreneurship is just so many things. I could talk about this forever. I was like, wow, this is I haven't talked this long during our lunch and learn in a minute, but I hope that you've enjoyed it as much as I did. So our first thing I said was, don't be lazy. Make sure that you do the marshmallow test and focus on delayed gratification. Number 3, very similar, but just more about that wealth, understanding that wealth takes patience and it will take time to build your business into the business that you want it to be. And then a 4th point is, you will never know everything, but just do it anyway. We don't know. Entrepreneurship is a lot about taking a step forward and we can't see where that foot is going to land, but we do it anyway. And then also try again, indeed. And then decide what not to do is very important. And then expect the unexpected. Let's make sure that we plan for things. And 7 is, know that you are human. Take care of yourself. Be detail oriented. Look at the short game. There is a lesson in every loss. And finally, be a team player, be empathetic, be loving. And thank you for being so kind to share today with me. I'm JB Bryan. AfroEconomics is a free app for your smartphone. I hope your phone is smarter than mine. It shouldn't have rang during this call, during this discussion. But the app AfroEconomics is available to you. AfroEconomics.com. You can get the schedule of all the events that are coming up. And I'm hanging out every Wednesday at noon, God willing, talking about a different financial topic. Today was tips for the entrepreneur. Be healthy and be wise, and talk to you soon. God bless you.